I am Dr. Sharif. Let me first start off by saying I have been working with Sharon now for several months, throwing out ideas and things of that nature about, what I would present and what this whole event means. And I have to tell you, she was so nervous about coming into a new venue and figuring out is it going to meet the needs and how is everyone going to feel. Can you guys give a round of applause? Isn't this room beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. And another thing I like to say before I begin speaking, typically when I go around and I speak, I'll make myself available, at the front of the room or at the door as people are coming in. And sometimes people know what I look like because they'll send out a picture. Sometimes they don't. And this time they did. So you guys kind of knew that I was the speaker. But one thing I can honestly say about this community, everyone was so incredibly warm. You guys greeted me as if, oh, it's just Cherie, like I was part of the family. Give yourselves a hand. Oh my gosh. You guys made me feel so incredibly welcome. I hope that what I can share with you on tonight will be something that will not only put you in a place where you can make some changes in your own life, but I'm hoping that you'll also share some of what you hear me say today to your friends and family to make a change in their lives. Life is so incredibly short, and events like this where we get to come together and celebrate survivorship and to celebrate life, it truly is important. This is a Monday night. You guys didn't have to come out. There are plenty of other things that you could have done, but I know that you came hoping and expecting something for yourself, but I'm sure you were also happy to see some of your friends that you may or may not have seen in a while, and a usual face, oh, Pooh, it popped off, or a usual face that you're used to seeing at an event like this. So I just want to share a little bit about my story. I would tell you this, that I was once a victim of cancer, congenital heart disease, and depression. I was in a battle for my life, physically and emotionally, and almost defeated. But today I can tell you that I am a victor, a fighter, and a winner. I have always, thank you. I have always wanted to be a physician ever since I was 2 years old. Apparently one of the favorite things that I loved to do was to climb in bed with my parents as they were watching Marcus Welby. And one day I stood up in the bed, now this is what they tell me because I don't remember this, but they said I stood up in bed and I announced, I'm going to be a doctor. And so my parents were like, yay, well, Cherie, why do you want to be a doctor? And so I said, for two reasons. One, I want to help people. And two, I want to make a lot of money. I did the first one, not so much on the second one. So I studied really hard. I managed to graduate valedictorian from grammar school and salutatorian from high school and with honors from college. But I ended up getting married quite young. And I actually got married a week before my senior year of college. And let me dispel your thoughts now, I was not pregnant. I was just young and dumb. But I went on to have two beautiful daughters after med school. But unfortunately, after 18 years of marriage, that marriage ended. And I was 40 years old and I had two preteen daughters. And to make matters worse, my mom was terminally ill. She had a condition called sarcoidosis. And my dad and I were her caregivers. And I want to share a little bit with you about my mom. My mom was born in Sharon, Mississippi, great-grandchild of slaves. She married young as well, at 15, had her first child at 16. She was a high school dropout, because back then, especially in the South, family came first. She endured repeated domestic violence. But for fear of the lives of her children, she did not run until they were safely tucked away. By the age of 26, she had remarried and had 4 children. Now, although her life was ahead of her, she was living for her children. Wanting to set an example for her 2 sons and her 2 daughters, she would not allow other societal role models to set the paths for her children. My mom decided to repurpose her life. So 5 years after her last child was born, that child that she calls my baby, my little sunshine, i.e. me, she went on to get her GED. And not only did she get her GED, she managed to score within the top 5% of all people who had ever taken the GED since it started. She went on to get straight A's in all courses leading to an associate's degree. And she went on to become one of the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's leading systemic investigators. You can clap on that one. My mom decided to live in her own power. And you know, it's been said that the sum of our that our lives are the sum of our fears, and that the decisions made by us daily are what helps us get to where we want to be, moving us from where we are or experiencing no change at all. And during my mom's lifetime, she displayed immense courage and unyielding optimism. But during the last 3 years of her life, she was suffering. She was in pain, and she was ready to die. And I was as ready as a child could be to let their mom go until October 1st, 2008. That's when I found a lump in my right breast. A planned lumpectomy and a sentinel node dissection, you know, they just take out the little lump and take out the little node, turned into a partial mastectomy where they removed half of my right breast, a level 1 lymph node dissection where they removed 16 lymph nodes, 3 of which were positive for cancer. So it was an aggressive and fast-spreading tumor. After just 3 rounds of chemotherapy, I was home alone. And the one good thing I have to say about divorce is that you get to send the children home to their father every other weekend. And that was supposed to be funny. I had 2 weeks of break, 2 weekends break. And so this particular weekend, my children were with their dad, and the chest pain was phenomenal. It felt like an elephant sitting on my chest. And, you know, being a physician, I'm sure you can anticipate the 3 numbers to dial are. Absolutely. Well, I didn't. Instead, I climbed up a flight of stairs, went to my office, pulled out my life insurance policy, left it on the desk so it'd be easy for my ex-husband to find. I climbed into bed. I asked God to please let my mom have a smooth transition. And then somewhere in the midst of the pain and the shortness of breath, I fell asleep. And about 6 hours later, the unthinkable happened. Can anybody guess what it was? I woke up. Oh, God, please. I was ready to go. But I was subsequently rushed to the hospital. And I was diagnosed with a congenital anomaly of my right coronary artery. Now, it branches off at a place where it shouldn't. So my right coronary artery is being squished between my aorta and my pulmonary artery, making it more than 80% blocked. And the chemo was causing it to be more than 90% blocked, the cause for the chest pain. And I worked out every day while I was going through chemo, because it was the only way for me to keep my sanity, not knowing that I was a ticking time bomb on that treadmill. So my cardiologist got together with cardiothoracic surgeons, and they were like, cancer patient, 3 major vessels, no. But my cardiologist said, you know what, I got to give this a shot. Some kind of way we need to get a stent in there, open up this artery. So he took me to the angio room, tried 22 different size stents. None of them worked. So he wheeled me out, got me back to the room, and said, Cherie, I got to give you some medications. You'll be on these for the rest of your life, and I'll continue to keep you in my prayers. Come back and see me every year, but that's all we can do. And so now I was 41, facing an aggressive cancer, a potentially life-threatening cardiac condition, and my mom, my best friend, was in the last stages of her life. 4 weeks after I was discharged from the hospital, my mom died. And I truly believe that if I don't give life my all, this woman will rise up, come and find me, and knock some sense into me. My mom, in many ways, showed me that in order to evolve, we have to choose not to relinquish our power. And so I went on to complete 12 additional rounds of chemotherapy. And I was so happy to be done with chemo, I threw myself a post-chemo pre-radiation party. And I'm pictured here with my dad. And I want to share a little bit about my dad. My dad, so, I told you my mom worked for the U.S. Department of, EEOC. And my dad worked for the United States Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights. This past June 11th, my dad turned 82. And he is still working as a investigator with the Office of Civil Rights. Yes. He drives 20 minutes to the train station, takes a 45-minute train ride, gets off, walks a mile to the office, puts in 8 hours, and does the reverse. 82. Has no intention of stopping, except for last week, he did tell me, Cherie, this job is really starting to get to me. They have all of this extra training and this training on the computer, and my boss wants me to put this in a certain way, and I'm like, I'm going to tell her tomorrow, these young folks know how to do it. Let them do it. Let me do this other stuff. And I said, well, Daddy, what if she doesn't, buy that? And he said, well, Cherie, I don't know. It just may be time for me to start looking for another job. Okay. So I come from good stock. So after my party, I went on to complete 33 rounds of radiation. And I was ready to get on with my life. Most people didn't even know that I had been diagnosed. And it wasn't that I was hiding it. It was just that I could work a mean thing with a wig. And I was just trying to get through it. And so I finally realized that if most people didn't even know that I had been diagnosed, it was impossible for them to understand the toll of losing half my right breast, my hair, my mom, my marriage was having on my psyche. And the handful of people who did know really didn't know what to do or say about it. But that was okay, because I was going to keep on moving, tell my story on an as-needed basis, and put this all behind me. Well, in the summer of 2010, two significant events happened. The first of which I participated in my first Susan G. Komen 3-day event in Chicago. It was absolutely amazing. To be in a crowd of thousands of individuals as a survivor, to feel that love and that compassion, and to be surrounded by individuals who share the same goal as you, and that's a world without breast cancer, it was absolutely life-changing. But shortly thereafter, another life-changing event occurred. Lymphedema set in. And for those of you that may not be aware, your lymph nodes are part of your immune system, help get rid of infection and inflammation. Well, between the surgery, the chemo, and the very intense radiation, all of the lymph nodes in my right armpit completely destroyed. So it left me with severe swelling of my right arm, hand, and fingers, disabling me from the clinical practice of my job. Remember, that job that I wanted ever since I was 2 years old. And to make matters worse, I was the director of disability for the company that I was employed with. And so I knew how this worked. I knew that I wouldn't be able to do the clinical practice anymore, but I knew that through accommodations, I could still do the administrative side and, still have some form of being in the hospital and with the clinics. I was overseeing 22 different clinics. So I was giving way more than just my clinical skill. I was giving all of my administrative skills. But my boss at the time, who wasn't a physician, pulled me into the office. And I'm all excited because I know now he's going to tell me about what's going to happen with my accommodations. He pulled me in the office and he says, Cherie, a physician who is not clinically capable is of no value to me. Now, I'm born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I really should have cursed him out. At least told him and his mama where they could go. But I was too broken, because now at 42, after everything that I had gone through, I now had no value. And so I went on to complete several months of daily physical therapy. I was terminated from that executive management position from an organization I thought I was going to one day retire. And then I was relegated to wearing compression garments 24/7 as my only treatment option. So I'm not trying to pull a Michael Jackson. I just figured if I have to wear it, I might as well bling it out and look cute. But you know, I had gotten to a point where I was disabled from a job that I had spent my life studying for, preparing for, and I had spent 16 years practicing. I was a doctor. I didn't know how to be anything else. And how many of you have children? Okay, so I don't know about your kids, but my kids have this expectation that they should eat every day. And I needed to figure out a way that I could make that happen. But I didn't want to do just anything. Now, admittedly, I have other skills. I have 17 initials behind my name. I can do medical record reviews. I can do disability file reviews. But that didn't, it can make money and it can put food on the table, but it was boring. Like, who's getting any joy out of that? And so I made up in my mind that I wanted to do something that made me excited to wake up in the morning and that put a smile on my face when I went to bed at night, that made a difference in the world and made a difference in the lives of individuals that I was surrounded by. So the only thing I knew was that I was going to do everything I could to share my story, share my struggle, share my victory with whoever was willing to listen, and to do what I can to bring an end to this disease. Now, that revelation came in December of 2010. Well, in January of 2011, Susan G. Komen put out a call looking for a new national spokesperson. And they sent out an email to everyone who had participated in the 3-day since 2007. And because I had participated in my very first 3-day just 4 months prior, I was included in the call. And after 586 applications, they had their new spokesperson. So for 6 years, thank you. So for 6 years, I served as the national spokesperson for Susan G. Komen. And man, did that open up a world of opportunity. I had the opportunity to witness to and to minister and to be surrounded by and to educate tens of thousands of men and women all across this country about their breast health and how they too can get in the fight to end breast cancer. Now I was making a difference, not just in my life, but in others. And by helping them through their struggles and showing them their value, I found mine again. So that cold-hearted boss actually helped me to realize a revelation, and that is that my value is not found in my do, but in my who and whose I am. I'm a child of God, and He has a great plan for my life that I intend to live out. Now, I mentioned to you earlier that there were things in my life that I never really stopped to think about until I relived what my mom went through and through her whole death experience. But I can tell you that as a physician and a patient, I have a brand new mindset. And I have learned that we need to take better care of our spiritual, physical, and emotional well-being. We take care of everybody else, but somehow when it comes to us, we lose sight of our own needs, or somehow think we are invincible to the negative consequences of constant stress that's never appropriately addressed. So I want to share with you some of my life lessons, and I believe these life lessons are for any age, male and female. Take a step today, no matter how small, to change the patterns of your past. Refuse to live in fear and in a state of indecision. And put setbacks behind you. You are not a failure because you try something and it doesn't work out. You fail only when you stop trying. And then today I want you to choose to live, to love, inspire, voice, and enjoy. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail in a second. But first, I want to do something. We have about 2 people sitting at each table. For those of you where there's not 2, I need for some of you to move up or find a partner. I need 2s. So for those of you that are sitting at a table alone, I need 2s. Who's going to be her partner? Someone come and be her partner. Is there somebody else single? Sharon? You, young man. Oh, you coming up? Yes, perfect. Okay. I want you guys to do something for me. Now, first of all, we all in 2s, right? For the most part? Now, we need a captain, even with the 2s. I believe in captains of teams, right? So the person with the longest hair, raise your hand. Okay? We figured that out. Person with the longest hair. Perfect. You are not the captain. Put your arm down. Okay. 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 Now, captains, your job is to listen. You're going to start off by listening. And I'm going to give you guys each 2 minutes to address this question. I want you to describe a pattern that you have either created in your life or that has simply occurred that you would like to see changed and why. Okay? Think of a pattern in your life, whether it's overspending, I got one there. Okay? Whether it's not calling your friend as often as you need to or should. Think about a pattern in your life that that either you have created or just has seemed to occur that you would like to change. Okay? 2 minutes. Go. Amongst yourselves. Time's up. All right. So now, I want you guys to switch places. So now, Captain, you get to tell what is a pattern in your life that you would like to see changed and why. Start. All right. Now, I love all of this conversation. Now, is there anyone in the room that's willing to share what that pattern is?
Oh, yeah, I will share.
Oh. What happened to my mic? Sharon,
I don't know if you really want to call this a pattern, but since I retired, my family takes advantage of me and it really, really irritates me. Because, even though I do a side job, they still expect dinner on the table. They still expect Mama to do everything for them. I think my husband's Mama did too much for him when he was
All right, so you get taken advantage of. What's another pattern?
I have one.
Spending too much. You, my love?
Yeah. Well, I'm taking care of 2 disabled people. My brother was a Vietnam War veteran, and he's incapacitated every day of the week. And also, my daughter has neuropathy in her feet, and she graduated from Michigan State pre-med, and she got neuropathy. And I'm the one that had a mastectomy, and I rely on the Lord. In every little ache and pain, I don't say, oh, the cancer's coming back, it's coming back. I got faith in the Father up in heaven.
You better testify. All right. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Not taking enough time for yourself.
Not taking enough time for yourself. Something else. Now, I want to share this with you guys. Okay. Sometimes doing what you need to do isn't always pleasant, but it's necessary to be made whole. Take a look at this.
Deborah, I know you don't like to take your ear medicine, but you gotta do it. Come on. Come on. Come here, it's time for your ear medicine. My goodness, look at that face. Oh boy, look at that face. Right here, you gotta do it. It's time.
So, now I want you to tell your partner, what step will you take today to break that pattern? All right? Around 2 minutes, go. Okay. Very good. You finding out some stuff about people you didn't know, huh? Like this woman over here, I am sick of cooking. So tell me, does someone want to share what step can you take today to change those patterns of your past?
There's nothing I can do.
Okay. Can we have someone that's a little bit more hopeful for change? Oh, she says she has an idea for you. Wait a minute now. I need to give you the mic. Make sure she can hear that.
I actually have a lot of ideas, but one, you could be at the gym during the dinner hour every Monday night.
So make yourself not available. Make yourself not as available. Other steps. I think so too. Yes, ma'am.
Well, she didn't say. Oh, I hate my.
That's okay. It's okay.
How old are your kids?
Old enough.
Oh, okay. They're all graduating. If you could, I'm just thinking if you could break it down into little steps, because they might really not have a clue what to do. And if you tell this one, do a salad, and this one do this, and this one do this, and I expect that. Tell them that you expect that of them. It doesn't seem so. If you said to one of them, get dinner, I think that would be too overwhelming for them.
See, my husband gets so mad at me, griping and bitching all the time. Then instead of making them, backing me up and telling them to do it, he'll just do what he thinks is right to do. And I'd rather not even hear you say anything. I'll just do it myself. Well, that's not right.
Okay, somebody else? Come on, guys, help me out here. We want something positive. Okay. Yes, my love.
for all of us that don't take enough time for ourselves and we're always giving that time to everybody else, first step might just be to say no once.
Say no. You better get to learning. Okay, another step, one more step. Come on. One more step. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. What did you say? Saying no and overcoming the guilt of saying no. I love that. Yes, ma'am. Who was that?
I told you I was afraid to make. I don't like making phone calls. I don't know who's on the other end. If it's a stranger, it just drives me crazy, and it just makes me anxious. And so I decided my step was to make one phone call a day, and I just had to do it now because I'm on jury duty this week, and I forgot to call. So I've been putting off calling, and I don't have to go tomorrow, so I'm good. I don't want to even hear what they have to say.
Yes.
It's that the unknown.
So you're saying force myself to make at least one phone call a day, and then that'll help me get over this angst of having to answer a phone call. Very good. Now let me share a couple of more life lessons. I want you guys to be bold in your living. And when I say bold in your living, I mean specifically, I want you guys to be willing to take action. Again, something we do so easily for others. My fellow, we do so easily for others. But if we take 5 minutes for ourselves, we feel guilty. We start thinking about all the work that's going to be waiting for us when we get back from vacation before we ever even leave. And if we sit still for more than 5 minutes, we feel like we're wasting time. You know, God never intended for us to live an overwhelmed life. He intended for us to live an abundant life, and that with joy. And then I want you to give abundantly. And when I say give, I don't just mean of your money or of your time. I mean give of your presence, your touch, your smile. Oh, Randy and Chris, that's so cute. Wait till you get home. But you know what? I did this so often as a physician. You know, I walk in a patient's room, good afternoon, Mr. Jackson, how are you doing today? That was what I did. But I found that I became so overcommitted, it became very robotic. And I failed to realize the healing effect and the reciprocity of giving and receiving can have on your psyche and on your soul. I want you guys to slow down to the point where you truly realize, especially in this day and time, how short life can be, that the smile you give someone may very well be the last smile they see. And then I want you to live in the present and hope in your future. Today can be a very important day for you. Today can be the day where you start making better choices, have a new mindset. Consider today the day that's going to make tomorrow better than yesterday. Now, if we're talking about taking action or giving, living and hoping, which one are you most guilty of not doing? Think about it for a moment. Which one of these, either in taking action, giving, truly living, and hoping in your future, are you most guilty of? Share, begin. Not with me, with each other. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, talk. Oh, this is deep. I'm getting deep on you. Think about it. Now, I promise you, I'm not gonna get too much deeper than what I did. Now, I want you guys, by show of your hands, how many are guilty of failing to take action? Oh, honey, I know you need to raise your hand. What about of giving? In all those areas that I mentioned, who's at fault for not giving? I love it. I knew I came to a great community. I figured that was going to be 0. What about of living? Yeah. And what about hoping? Having that hope. He said, hope you'll win the lottery. I love it. Now what I want you to do, and this is going to be a shorter period of time, I want you to share with each other what step you're going to take that's going to cause you to do what you're lacking in. So nobody here admits to being guilty of giving of themselves, money, time, smile, touch. But we do have in taking action. What is it that you're going to take action and do? Is it going to be you, my love, that's going to take action and say, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. I am going to tell so-and-so to make a salad and the other one to boil the hot dogs. Or I am going to take action and go to the gym and just not be found when it's time for dinner. Or what am I going to do as far as living? Where have you fallen short with regards to your living and being present and being in a moment? Or in hoping or not being afraid or being fearful, like my beautiful lady said about, not being fearful about every little pain or ache in my bones about it recurring. What step can you take to change where you're deficient in? Just share real briefly. You got 30 seconds. One person says one thing and the other person shares the other. Real brief. So, does anyone want to share what action they're going to take? Wait, honey. I want everyone to hear you.
We can focus on what we can do instead of what we can't do, and to try to upgrade anything that we've lost and have content about it.
Beautiful. Wow. You're going to understand why I said wow with my next slide. You, my love.
Okay. Well, hope. I've always tended to be a pessimist. And I also go to Weight Watchers, and we talk about rest, assess, stop, rest, and assess. Well, the other thing you have to do is you have to kill your annoying negative thoughts, those ants, annoying negative thoughts. Because pessimism comes from negative thinking. You have to kill the negative thoughts, those ants.
Wonderful. Awesome. You guys are profound. Anything else?
Don't always do it, but...
Now, like I said earlier, my mom taught me that in order to evolve and improve, we must choose not to relinquish our power to misperceptions, fear, painful situations, or people. Nothing can get in your way or prevent you from reaching your goal without your permission. And I have found that no matter how fast or slow time seems to move, we all only have a finite amount of it here on earth. So with that, I ask myself daily, what am I doing with my time? And I shared earlier that I have a new perspective, a new way of viewing life, a new way of thinking, because I found that joy doesn't come from having your circumstances in order or under control. Joy comes from what's in your heart. And contentment is not about how much education you have, your job title, how much money you have, or what side of the tracks you were born on. Contentment is a heart attitude. You will not find anyone more happier than a truly thankful person, a truly content person. See, the word content means being satisfied to the point where nothing disturbs you, no matter what's going on, but not satisfied to the point where you never want anything to change. We all want to see things change. We all want to see things get better, but where you are right now does not have to disturb you. You can choose to believe that God is working things out in your favor and that you will see the results of it in due time. Struggles have a way of bringing us to a point where we are forced to consider what we still have rather than what we've lost in order to bring a new path or vision into view. We are forced to recreate purpose for our lives. And sometimes in that recreation and getting that new sense of purpose, there is a certain amount of anxiousness that comes with it. We feel like some kind of way we're behind the 8 ball, like we need to run and kind of catch up to redeem the time. And in so doing, we may take on a little bit too much that really doesn't apply to the purpose because we're trying to get it all in. And I have a number of individuals come to me and ask, Dr. Cherie, I see you on social media, you're everywhere, you're doing all of this stuff. How in the world do you manage your time? To which I reply, there is no such thing. Because there are 24 hours in a day, 168 of them in a week, and the seconds in a minute cannot be finagled, cajoled, manipulated, multiplied, or managed. But be assured of this, that you will always find time for the things you put first. So I teach people priority management. Put things first that you want to get more out of them. And so there are 4 steps to priority management. The first of which, write down the things that you want more of. You don't have to do it right now. But I want you to think about it. When you go home, I want you to write down the things you want more of. Second thing is, I want you to pick just one of them to do in the upcoming week. Just one. I know there's a lot of type A people in here. You're going to look at that list and say, I can knock 3 of these out. But don't. Just one. And then the third step, make it a priority. And by that, I mean put it on your calendar. Whether or not you're a paper calendar person, a smartphone calendar person, put it on your calendar. Give yourself an alert, a reminder if you need to. Maybe it's spending more time with your newborn or your toddler grandchild. Maybe it's going to more of the basketball games that your grandson plays in. Whatever it is, if there's a game coming up next Monday at 4:30, you put it on your calendar. I'm going to be at the school at 4:30 so I can see little Jimmy play in the basketball game. And then the 4th step, do it, savor it, and celebrate it. So next Monday comes at 4:30. You do not allow anything other than a life-threatening emergency prevent you from being at that game. 4:30, you have your little hiney set in those bleachers, and you are ready to see little Jimmy come on out. Don't pull out your phone and start texting. Don't start checking emails. Young lady, don't you dare start thinking about what you got to make for dinner. Be in the moment. Savor it. Be present. Smell all of those musty bodies running all up and down the court. Be in the moment. And then when the game is over, pat yourself on the back and celebrate it. You have just gotten more out of life. You've done something that you hadn't intended on doing. It's been in your mind, but you had never brought it into fruition. And now you see that you can. You just need to manage your proper priorities. Now, when you decide what it is you want to get more out of, there's a certain anticipation that may come with it, wondering whether or not you would be able to complete the goal. Well, there was something I wanted to do myself. As I mentioned, I have lymphedema, and I discovered that the garments that were available to me at the time I was diagnosed were, ooh, child, so ugly, hot, uncomfortable. And then the guy that I was working with wanted to fit me in nude. And so I didn't know. I thought nude was, nude, my nude. And so he brought the garment, and I looked at him and I said, is this really nude? And he was like, well, yes, this is nude. I said, sir, I'm a physician. I have seen a lot of naked bodies, and none of them are this color. So you can take that one back and give me black. And so he says to me, well, you're rather light. I mean, it's going to cause a very stark, contrast. And I said, you act like you just met me. I've been going to PT now for about 3 or 4 months. My nickname is Diva MD. I'm all about getting attention. So I said, so give me the black one. But you know what I also found on a serious tip is that as I traveled, found that there were so many women out there who were not treating their lymphedema for several reasons. One, because the garment was ugly, it was uncomfortable, it was hot. 2, couldn't afford it. Most of the times won't even be covered under insurance. The women that were wearing the ugly ones, it's 90 degrees outside and they're wearing long sleeves because they wanted to cover the garment. I had a nurse who, like me, ended up having to not work in nursing, but thankfully she had been with the physician for so long, she now just did clerical, but she did clerical with just one hand. Her right arm and her hand and fingers, it was too heavy to even try to open up a door, and she just had to do one hand. And so I made up in my mind, when I would bling mine out, many women would say to me, oh my gosh, I love that one-arm t-shirt. And I'm like, what? Well, they thought it was a fashion garment because I had blung it out. And so women said, well, you know what, if you could create something that's fashionable, I'd wear it. I'd buy it. I don't care how much it costs. I would get it and I would wear it. And I had a burning and yearning in my heart that those of us as survivors and metavivors and previvors that may suffer from lymphedema, it's a shame to get through that battle and now have to be faced with donning an ugly, uncomfortable garment and being reminded of your tragedy, or in having to succumb to repeated infections because you don't get it treated because either you can't afford it or it's just you're already having self-image problems anyway. Why am I going to add to it by adding an ugly garment? So I went out and set out on my own to find a couple of manufacturers to create my own garments. And it was not easy. It's taken me 5 years traveling back and forth to Colombia, meeting up with manufacturers, a hosiery company in North Carolina, having him travel to China for me. And I'm a doctor. And I'm sitting up here talking about denier and the number of yarn and all of that other stuff. But guys, I finally created my own line of compression garments. It's called Couture Compression Apparel. And finally got the garments all set, ready to place the order. And my partner announces she's going through a divorce. So, needless to say, she does not have the finances now for us to purchase the initial inventory to get things going. And also, from a legal perspective, she doesn't want us to make any profits and now have the problem of that being in the middle of divorce. So I was like, But you know what? I didn't feel bad because at the same time I had the vision to start Couture Compression Apparel, I also said there's no way, even if this is the least bit remotely profitable, that I would just make a profit and not some kind of way give back. So at the same time I was investing in CCA, I also started a nonprofit called the Live Today Foundation That foundation has three main goals. One, to educate physicians and other healthcare providers about the psychosocial aspects of lymphedema. We, and I'm talking about we as physicians, can be guilty of saying, it's just a little swelling, thank God you're alive, you're a survivor. Okay, but not thinking of the fact that lymphedema caused me my career. I had to completely reinvent myself. Other individuals are not as fortunate. So I want to educate them that this is a serious side effect. Number two, to educate lay people about the importance of getting treated. No, it's not just a simple swelling, because if it gets out of hand, you can develop infections, cellulitis, and that can spread systemically. It's not worth it. And then number three, to actually give free compression garments to the uninsured, underinsured, and underserved. You can clap on that one. And so, met with all of these manufacturers thinking that I'm getting ready to do CCA. CCA has now been put on hold, but guess what? The manufacturers are already in my pocket, so that now Live Today is not on hold. I have already gotten a couple of donations significant enough that I can actually place the first order to give out free compression garments. And I'm also applying for 2 grants that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be able to get, because there is no other organization in the area where I'm applying for the grant that offers this type of service. So I feel pretty good about that. I actually feel so good that if CCA never takes off, Live Today will. And Live Today's mission is about helping to increase and benefit the quality of life for breast cancer survivors, metavivors, and previvors suffering from lymphedema, and to demonstrate to them how to elevate the journey of life beyond merely existing and to living every day. Now, I learned that I had to step out of the safety zone. It was freaking me out to be researching manufacturers and traveling out to other countries and coming out of my pocket, my savings. Remember, I don't have W-2 income. It's only 1099. If I don't speak, I don't get paid. But I felt so earnestly about this, and I was scared. But had I not stepped out of the safety zone, had I not stepped up to the bat, even though I was afraid of striking out, I would have never experienced all of the blessings that I have received to this day. And one of the things that I have learned is that in the safety zone, you may feel safe, but you will never develop your full potential or be fulfilled in what you are doing. Because there are times when you need to step out and find out, because you can either be pitiful or powerful, but not both. It's the truth. So now, when you think about when we examine why we may hesitate or avoid facing challenges in our lives, I think we would all have to agree that fear is often what stands in our way. It seems like life always has a way of bringing us to a place where we need to make a fresh start. And some of you may be there right now. Maybe you want to revive a lost dream or break a bad habit. Maybe you want to write a book, start your own business, get a handle on your finances. Whatever it is, this could be your time to get started right now. This could be your new beginning, your time to get up and get on with your dream, your vision, your assignment, your very life, because it belongs to you. On this journey in life, we have to be comfortable with uncertainty and improvisation. When that happens, you will live wisely and well, not in spite of your troublesome journey, but because of it. Now, I have one last little breakout, and I want you guys to think about, what is the one thing you would really like to do before you leave this earth? What is the one thing you really would like to do? Doesn't have to be profound. It could be to eat a kumquat, because you never had one. I don't know. But I want you to share in your groups of 2, what is the one thing you would really like to do? You got a couple minutes. Go ahead and start. Now, I know you guys have some good things to share with this one. I want to hear a lot of, what's the one thing you really would like to do? Come on, don't all jump up one time, because I will start picking. Oh, I love it.
We figured out we both want the same thing. We want to live at the beach.
Live at the beach. Beautiful. All right. Let me come to you, sir. Come to you, my beautiful love, my beautiful one, my gorgeous one.
I own a 1977 Volkswagen Beetle.
Whoa! A particular year?
1977.
1977. Oh, you said it's 77. You said it like it was a model number or something. Are you serious? Oh, you were born in 77? On Christmas Day! In 77, such a cute little baby. She's such a cute little baby. Okay.
I want to join the pink ribbon rowing crew.
All right! Yay!
The day is Wednesday, so
Okay.
on my schedule for this week.
On your schedule for this week, yes! She's gonna do it. Come on, some more. What would you like to do? What would you like to do? Oh my God, come on now. Want to go on an Alaskan cruise? Awesome. Yes. Okay, now, but you're going to tell me what you would really like to do.
Travel more.
Travel more.
My husband was in the Army for 20 years, but we still didn't see everything.
Right. That's a beautiful thing. Doesn't have to be anything major. I know this lady has something to say.
I'd like to write a book on survivors of cancer and what, not to be negative, but to always be positive and have faith in God.
Yes. See? See how many good ideas that we're getting? And ma'am, what would you like to do? Oh, she took the mic. All right.
I have grandchildren in Chicago, and
Come and visit us.
I'd like to get to know the little girl better,
Yes.
Sarah, because when they're at our house, she's playing with the other grandchildren. So I told her this weekend, how about you and Mimi start writing cards back and forth? You be my pen pal, and I'll tell you what I'm doing, and you tell me what you're doing. Would you like that? She said, sure, I'd love that. So that's my next project.
See, that is beautiful. Yay! My pink-haired ladies, what would you like to do?
Well, I have given back to people and organizations my whole life. My mother's taught me that. So as we kind of go into retirement, I would love to start traveling more abroad, but helping different organizations. And then staying a little longer for fun.
There we go.
And I just want to live till I'm 100.
There we go. Dr. Randy.
I can't say.
Ooh! Sookie now. Chris. What I wanted to demonstrate is that when you take the time to think about life, there are always things that we want to do, but there is something about speaking it out loud. And when you go home, I really want you to write them down, because it becomes a form of creation when you take an idea and put pen to paper. It becomes a physical reality for the first time. And I want you to make those things happen, because life is short. And it's going to go on without us when we're gone. There are those people in our lives that are close to us. Yes, they will mourn when we are gone. But our bodies and our minds were made to continue on. No one stays in a form of mourning for the rest of their lives. And we wouldn't want that for those individuals that love us and that are close to us. So if you don't make up in your mind to get it and to do it right now, when will you do it? Because your life can be gone in a split second. Now, there was something that it wasn't really something that I wanted to do. I just kind of thought about it. Remember I told you that after 18 years, my first marriage ended. And so when it ended, I was diagnosed and cut up and, went through all type of, losing your hair and the scars and everything. And then when my life got back together, once I reinvented myself and I'm traveling and I'm speaking and I'm writing on my book and doing all these different things, I found that I was really rather complete in my life, except I was missing one thing, just that intimacy. Just to have somebody, the opposite sex, you call on the phone, hey, boo, just to have that. And I didn't have it. And I thought about, is that something that I really want? Is it really fair for me to bring someone into my life and there may be a recurrence or a new cancer? And then do I really want him, looking at me, this right breast, the nipple kind of tweaks to the side a little bit because, and I just didn't know. And so I had a conversation with the Lord and I said, you know what? I am really very fulfilled. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm going to live life and I'm going to enjoy every day. I am not going to be sitting around thinking about no man or a man that I don't have. Whatever. I'm going to enjoy life. Made that decision October 6, 2012. October 9th, 2012, I get a friend request on Facebook from a guy I went to high school with. Matter of fact, I went to high school, college, and med school with. He thought I was still married because I kept my name hyphenated, Springs Phillips, so people could still find me. And so I'm like, oh, man, that's a name from the past. Wait a minute. That's a name from the past. So let me click on his profile picture. And I was like, ooh, yeah, he is still fine. Okay, so back in high school, I was a cheerleader. I was on a cheerleading team for 4 years, all 4 years. And it's my sophomore year, his senior year. And he joins the football team his senior year. So a lot of times the football players and the cheerleaders and pom-pom, we practice on the same field. So in my sophomore year, because I had been a coach in my grammar school year, I taught a lot of the cheers. So now I see this tall, handsome guy coming out on the field, and I knew I hadn't seen him before. And so, I tell the girls, okay, line up. Of course, I'm in the front. Okay, here we go. So, we doing our cheers, and I'm doing my thing. I'm doing a little extra so he can see me. So, he, players go by and they, hi. And I'd see him practice, hi. I see him in the hallway, hi. He never asked me out. He went on to graduate, didn't see him anymore. All of a sudden, we're in college. One day, I'm walking into my dorm. Lo and behold, here's this guy. He has on this nice fraternity jacket because he's pledged and looking real good. And I'm looking good now, too, because I'm a little bit more confident in myself, right? And so he's walking towards the same door that I normally walk to, and we lived in a place called the Plex, so it had like 4 different pods. And as it turns out, he was walking to the same pod as me. I'm like, oh, my God. He lives on the same pod as me. So I rush up behind him. So when he opens the door, usually when you open the door, you kind of turn so he'd see me. And so his mom and daddy taught him well. He opened up the door, he sees me, and he goes, oh, no, after you. So I'm like, okay, thank you. I did my little walk. And I waited and I did my waiting to exhale, look back, make sure he was still looking at me. He was gone. And then he goes on to graduate. I don't see him anymore. Then we get to med school. Well, by med school, we're both married to other people. Oh, well. I graduate, he graduates. 20-something years later, he sends me a friend request, October 9th, 2012. We proceed to talk, go out on our first date, October 31st, 2012. Remember October 1st, 2008 was when I found the lump in my right breast. Life, as I knew it, changed forever. Well, October 1st, 2013, me and that football player, we eloped. So as remarried, y'all, he is 6'3", cafe au lait, curly wave of hair, general surgeon. So again, there comes a time in your life where you need to open up yourself to new things and new adventures. Step out of that safety zone. I was scared about letting somebody in for a whole number of reasons. But ladies, let me tell you, I'm glad I stepped out of that one. Yes, I am. And so I have something that I want you guys to take a look at. And then I'm going to be out of your way. But take a look at this. Living life on and with purpose.
Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Wow. I'm excited because I understand something that I believe that you understand, that we are here by a divine purpose, that we do have a purpose. We may not be perfect people, we may not have perfect situations, but we are still significant nonetheless. And we have been blessed with a rich body of emotions. We have emotions. We're not like roses or plants or bushes that have life without feeling. We have feelings, and when we use them properly, they are very effective in motivating you toward your destiny. I want you to be clear and understanding that purpose and passion are interconnected. Unfortunately, we live in a crazy world that we're busy all the time, and everything's fast, and we're losing touch with who we are, our inner sense of passion. But it is your passion that empowers you to be able to do that thing you were created to do. I want somebody to shout passion. You may not feel it all the time, you may not sense it all the time, but you do have passion. We have passion through which we thrust into the throes of life to accomplish the things that we were created to do, so that we can function at a higher dimension with authority and with conviction. You need passion to withstand all the obstacles that go along with your purpose. Just because you're living on purpose doesn't mean you're going to have problems. You're going to need thrust to be able to get up off the ground and to step into the field of your dreams. Even if you have not landed on the thing, at least get in the territory of the thing you are dreaming to do and that you hope to accomplish to do. And through that passion, you're able to ignite things you have never ignited before. I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. You're saying, I don't feel a thing. I'm numb. I don't feel anything at all. All of us go through times that we don't feel anything at all. But in order to ignite passion again, you have to be exposed. Get out of the boat, Peter. Walk on the water. Go do something you've never done before. Get involved. Get connected. Because when you are exposed, you see that there are more options than your contemporary situation at any age. That's the good news about it. You don't have to be cute. You don't have to be pretty. You don't have to be a size 3. You don't have to be a blonde or brunette. You don't have to be 20 or 50. At any age, you can still ignite your purpose through finding your passion. That's good news. What then do we do with the lulls in life? The dark shadows in life? We all have them. The secret pains and burdens that we have in life. Are they in fact distractions from our purpose? Absolutely not. I have never seen anybody who did extraordinary feats that didn't have extraordinary issues. It is the passion that gives you the power you need, but it is the pain from which you have the conviction about it. If you had not been through some pains, you would not have the burning to do what you do. I believe that children are like arrows. They need to be directed. You aim them at the thing you want them to hit, but you don't push an arrow, you pull it away from it. And it is the digression that causes the progression. If your life has been tough and it's been hard and you had to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and your childhood wasn't so good, guess what? That was just the arrow being pulled back so that when you are released, you can thrust after the thing you're after. Yes. Yes. So you don't have to grieve over what you didn't get and what didn't happen and how you were treated and who didn't raise you and who didn't love you. You don't have to grieve about it at all. Once you understand, the greater the digression, the stronger the progression. If Nelson Mandela had not been incarcerated, had not been mistreated, had not been ostracized, he would not have the passion to do what he does. If Oprah Winfrey had not gone through the things that she had gone through, she would not be so committed to making sure that everybody finds their purpose and finds their dream and everybody gets healed and everybody's okay. I'm telling you, what you think is working against you is actually working for you.
I'll have to admit, my challenges in life caused me to stray off course. But baby, I'm back. But for me, when I say that I'm back, I'm not referring to any state of being where I once was. I say that I'm back to the person that I was born to be. I was born to be exceptional, but lived in mediocrity. I'm back to the person that I was always meant to be, which is a beacon of hope. But I never lived up to because I was hiding in the shadow of someone else's light. And I'm back to fulfill the purpose that God always intended for me. And that, my friends, simply is to live. And for me to live means to love myself and others, to inspire those around me, to voice my dreams and ambitions, and finally to enjoy life. There are moments in this life that make you, and they set the course of who you're going to be. Sometimes they're little subtle moments. Sometimes they're big moments like breast cancer you never saw coming. No one asks for their life to change, but it does. It's what you do afterwards that counts. I wrote my book to share my story of how a young physician was enjoying a successful career with her beautiful family when everything changed. It's my real life tale of several vulnerabilities, exposing my vulnerabilities through an onslaught of trials that would make any woman or man reel in defeat. My emotional ride through several life-threatening circumstances drove me from self-examination to self-discovery, leaving me face to face with myself, my power, and my God. I'm Dr. Cherie, and my prescription for life is to live. And one of my missions in my lifetime, one of the many things that I want to do, is to share with every audience that I have the opportunity to speak with. If there's anyone in this audience that has heard this phrase or has used this phrase, I want to admonish you to not use it again. Many times in my field, because of the things that I talk about and because I am a 9-year survivor, many people always tell me when people have gone on. And they refer to their loved ones as, well, Missy, she lived, she fought the battle for 10 years, and she lost the battle last year. I don't want anyone else to ever say that anybody lost the battle to cancer. Because the moment we wake up and get up off of that operating table, the moment we get through chemo, and when we've made it through radiation, my babies, we have already won. So no more lost the battle. When individuals transition from this life to the next and go on to become angels, You simply say, Missy fought the good fight. She kept the faith. And she has finished her race. Because the race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to him that endureth to the end. So we as survivors and metavivors, we always win. The day we wake up, every single day that we live, we have won. Do not ever, ever take away from an individual's legacy that they have pushed through and strived through, and ever take away from what they have given to each and every one of the individuals that have surrounded their community and say that they've lost anything. Simply say that they have finished the race. I thank God for each and every one of you. This is the last time we will ever be together in this unique compilation of individuals. And I am honored that you saw fit to have me share with you this evening. And I am blessed by all of your love and support and your smiles. I pray that my story has helped you and will cause you to choose this day to live. God bless you.